Oh, yeah, it's time. It is cut-down time. As the third preseason game, the Chiefs will meet the Seahawks, but then after that, it's a flurry of activity as decisions are made by 32 teams around the National Football League. That sets a ripple effect all the way through the National Football League. So it's 96 hours. Dash, make it hard to cut you.
Mahomes in the pocket, he'll step up, he'll scramble 10, 5, Mahomes, diving, touchdown, Kansas City!
10x.ai is the official cybersecurity partner of the Kansas City Chiefs. In this city, we know that championship success starts with defense. 10x.ai is the AI security operations provider protecting organizations from cybersecurity attacks at machine speed with human analysts on the loop 24/7. Experience cybersecurity that is AI native and human-led, united against every threat. Visit 10x.ai for details. Hi, everyone. I'm Mitch Holthus, voice of the Chiefs, along with senior team reporter and chief editorial director.
This is becoming a bit. I need to write down all of these attempts.
It's vice president for not president or vice president.
That'd be great. No.
Director of editorial content.
You got it. Yes, that's it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
On the fifth try. Many of our Chiefs Kingdom defenders have chuckled about it. Just know he's extremely valuable. And so any title we give him, he'll live up to. But it's great.
I just like when during camp one day we were walking down and the guy looked at you and said, Batman and I'm like, Robin. I'll be Robin. That's my official title. I'm happy to be that.
No, it's... sometimes we flip it. You know, we're just the Avengers. So anyway, yeah, here we are. This is... in many ways, the most interesting time in the National Football League, but it's also a time I never get used to. I got asked on a show today. You know, during training camp, I'm on 10 times a day, and I got asked on a show today, "Do you ever get used to it?" And I said, "If I do, I need to get out." Because have you ever been fired? Have you ever been told no in trying to get a job? Have you ever been fired?
No, the Chiefs was my first full-time job.
Wow.
And I just haven't left.
Yeah, but you've had some really interesting jobs.
I was an intern. I was a professional intern there for a while, bouncing around. But fortunately, I've not been fired, no.
No,
Fingers crossed.
I came to a mutual agreement once in my career, but it really didn't feel very mutual. But that's okay. It's another matter. But I've also been at the altar in thinking I had a job out of 300 applicants and get it down to 2 or 3 and you don't get it. So it's an interesting dynamic. Fans, I think, can become callous to it, or we start to look at it as just a spreadsheet or something on a Word doc of names cut, names making it. And these are human beings. Until this is all AI in 100 years or robotic, then it's still human beings. This is very difficult. I just talked to Coach. Coach was talking about it. He never gets used to it, in the fact that some will make it, some will not. And then we're going to bring up later here in the podcast a dynamic where you think you make it and you don't. And that's really something to take into account. But anyway, it's a very difficult time.
Yeah, it's like 1,100 guys are without a job. It's tough because one of the things we really enjoy during the spring and summer is all the stories of players that they're living out their dream. And the reality of it is the preseason game on Friday, that'll be the last chance for the vast majority of these guys to ever play professional football. Like, that's it. And for the rest of their lives, they can say, hey, I played for the Chiefs. I played at Arrowhead Stadium. But that's it. Some stories will continue, and there's some really great ones that we've seen, and we'll talk about them, and they're going to hopefully help us win. But for a lot of these guys on our team and around the league, this is it. And it is tough, and we need to keep in mind the sacrifices they've made and how difficult that is. But at the same time, it's an opportunity for our team to get better. And who's going to elevate? Who's going to make this team? We were just talking about it a minute ago. I went through the roster and tried to kind of see who the 53 might be. We're going to find out on Sunday when all these cuts are made. But I'm with you. It's important to keep in mind that dreams are coming to an end. And while it's an exciting time, it's also kind of a somber one.
I was at an event earlier this week in Wichita, and we're talking about youth football and middle school. You know, I love football at all levels. I love six-man football all the way to the biggest classes throughout our nation, especially in the Chiefs Kingdom. But there was people talking about youth football in middle school and high school, and yeah, those dreams are there. but there's an end point many times. And some of these players that'll be cut will go to the UFL. They might go to the Canadian League. They might play for the St. Louis Goats, or the St. Joseph Goats in the Indoor Football League, or the Western Kansas Cowboys, or some of the other indoor teams. But for many, it'll be, this is it. And so you stated it very well, and that's why it's a difficult time. There are those that'll have the ecstatic feeling of making it. We're going to get into that here in a little bit. Before we do all that, let's go around the world. It's been a bit.
Yeah.
We got the machine, the space machine cranked up, and let's launch it. Where are we at?
I hadn't looked at my Twitter DMs in quite a while because Twitter can get kind of weird with the DMs now. You can just miss stuff. It gets kind of weird. I missed some from like weeks and weeks and weeks ago, so I scribbled a few down. So shout out to John in Enterprise, Alabama. That's in Southeast Alabama.
Yep.
Home of the Army Aviation Center of Excellence at Fort Rucker. Pretty cool. So shout out to you, John. Sorry it took forever to get back to you. I heard from Kino in Oldenburg, Germany. Yeah. Not always easy for Kino to watch games due to the time difference, but catches as many games as he can. So shout out to you, Kino. Once again, sorry it took like 8 weeks to get back to you. And then Kelton is in Denton, Texas, but originally from Johnson City, Kansas, home of the
Trojans.
Yeah,
actually.
you got it.
The Stanton County Trojans.
You got it.
Story of this, Smith Center, my hometown, was in the same district. This is 2 years ago or 3 years ago. Same district, okay? Think this now, district, with the Stanton County Trojans in Johnson City. And by the way, Johnson City is nowhere near Johnson County. Johnson City is 400 miles from Johnson County.
He put city in all caps in the message just to make sure it didn't
they
get confused.
They get mad at that.
Yeah.
290 miles in the same district.
That's crazy.
One way. It's a 600-mile round trip to play a district game. I don't know what district they're. Anyway.
How long is that bus ride?
Like weeks. I don't know. It's pretty crazy. When I saw that, I'm like, wow, for sure. But Johnson City, actually Stanton County Trojans, now they're 8 men. They were 11 men. But a lot of athletes have come out of that area.
Okay.
My daughter played college basketball, and she had some teammates from Johnson City. So out there on the Colorado border, but great Chiefs Kingdomites out there.
Shout out to the Oasis on the Plains in Colby, Kansas. Yeah. Stopped there a few times. One more small thing.
Prairie Dog Museum.
You got to do it. Got to go to the Fish Within a Fish in Hayes.
Oh, yeah.
As a kid, I loved that.
Yeah.
Speaking of things I loved as a kid, this game coming up is our. One of the things that's being celebrated is backyard football. Do you have that game in your house when your kids were growing up?
Oh, yeah.
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 I used to play that a ton. We're going to celebrate it at Arrowhead on Friday, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, I love that. Again, any way, shape, or form, virtual, real, yes, love the game. And that's why this weekend coming up is so tough because it's at the least for some, a derailment. For the most, for some, it's the end. And so here we are. But 96, it'll be an interesting 96 hours.
Yeah, definitely.
And you mentioned if we'll know the 53 by Sunday, and we may not.
We'll kind of know it.
And here's why. With the Chiefs in the 9th position on waiver claims, we haven't been here in a while. I'll take you back to the ancient days of the 2013 cut down. There were 7 guys that thought they made our team. Now, remember who got cut that year? Tony Moeaki. Tyson Hartman played at Wichita Cape in high school and at K-State and had played for us. And I see Tyson. He's done a great job. Super bright guy and now involved in the financial industry. They thought they made the team on Saturday. On Sunday, they were told they were cut. 7 guys. And the reason was we had first waiver position. Anybody that got cut in the league, we were sifting through it and had the first claim.
Yeah.
With the 9th claim, it's not like having the first, Matt, but you catch my drift. There could be 1, maybe 2 players. As you sift through the sand, they're going, no, we're going to claim that guy, particularly in a position of perceived need. That's why I think one of the reasons this is a real interesting time.
Yeah, so we'll come out with an initial 53-man roster on Sunday, and then to your point, it might look a little bit different on Tuesday. The Magnificent Seven is fun to talk about. Thinking about some of those guys. Sean McGrath, he was fun.
Duck Dynasty. The only healthy tight end when we played the New York Giants.
Unbelievable.
He was the only healthy tight end.
And he scored, right?
Yeah, he scored.
Yeah.
That was great.
Ron Parker. Ron Parker's the valedictorian of that.
He was. Division II guy.
Yeah.
Didn't play Division I football. And, yeah, we even had a feature of Ron Parker says, right? He was just always quoted kind of like Socrates or Plato before a game all the time. He just became very verbose.
Marcus Cooper was pretty good for a minute.
Yeah, fumble recovery or forced fumble, I think, against Tennessee that led to a touchdown in the end zone.
Yeah, that's right. The point is,
Rutgers.
You can find these players, and when you have a higher spot in that waiver order, there might be a team that has too many of a position group, and they just can't hold on to a guy. They're hoping maybe they can sneak him through to their practice squad, and we're able to pounce on him. So we'll see. So it's a long way of saying that it's a little bit tricky. It's a bummer for those guys that think they make the team. They end up not making the team. But also, from a team-building perspective, we have a chance to get better even beyond just roster cuts on Sunday.
I'll give you another example of the other side of this, and this is pre-Coach Reed, but Ryan Lilja played at Shawnee Mission Northwest High School here in Kansas City, was a great player for K-State. We tried to slip him through. The Colts claimed him. He became an immediate starter for the Colts and a Super Bowl champion with Peyton Manning. And that's another example of, well, let's try to slip them through. And everybody's looking at everybody during this time. And again, just fascinating. But I'll be stunned if there's not one or two players that we look at and claim on Sunday that would that's not on our roster right now.
And who knows what will happen? This is me just spitballing, but we've played the Rams and we're going to play the Seahawks in the preseason. Those are two of the deepest rosters in the NFL. You get a up-close and personal evaluation of those teams. Not a bad thing.
One thing is to watch it on video. Another one is to see them in the flesh.
Yeah.
And you can argue the two deepest rosters in the National Football League.
Might be.
And so, that might be the blessing in disguise of playing these two teams in the preseason. So 96 hours where it's going to be interesting, some surprises, some things maybe you haven't thought about or we've thought about. But it's also and I just talked again with Coach, make it hard to cut you. And I'm going to give you a double meaning on that. But let's start with the meaning that pretty obvious is that be so good that it's boiling down to one or two or three guys at a position, and it's very difficult to make that decision.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, so I looked through the roster here. When you have 53 guys on your roster, you're going from 91 to 53. You're going to have to make some really tough decisions. And where do you invest a lot in position group wise? Is there a position where you usually keep, like defensive back, for example, we normally keep between 9 and 10. If there's one extra guy that you like a lot and you don't think you can sneak him through, you think he'll be like Ryan Lilja, you can't cut him. You have to keep him. And you end up being at 11 DBs. That means you have to go lighter somewhere else. That's where this gets so fascinating. So I'm going to zip through this really quick. I just looked through it. I'm not going to mention names, but just looking at position groups. So quarterbacks, presumably you keep 3, right? Keep 3 quarterbacks. Probably keep 4 running backs. But that means you could probably only keep 6 receivers.
Well, you're heavy now, too. Let's just, on a normal template, you usually would keep 2 quarterbacks and 3 running backs.
Yeah.
So you're +2. But
already.
Yep. Okay.
But that's where the discourse out there is talking about keeping 7 receivers like we have in the past. I just don't know if you can. If you keep 3 quarterbacks and 4 running backs, you can't then keep 7 receivers. I don't think. So 6 receivers. You probably can't keep 4 tight ends. You probably only keep 3 tight ends. Maybe you find a way to keep 4, but I think you only keep 3. It sets up quite a battle there for that 3rd spot.
And what you're doing here in this exercise, let's say you keep 4 tight ends, you're robbing defensive players.
Yeah.
You can't go to Spags and go, you're going to have 20 guys. And many times that's what happens. In a perfect world, and we talked about it, you have 25 offense, 25 defense, and 3 specialists. That's perfect world. But right now, and I'm with you in this discussion, you're at +3 if you keep, but you only have 3 tight ends.
Only 3 tight ends, so that'd be +1 now, right?
You're +1 because you took only 6 wide receivers. Mm-hmm. You had an extra quarterback, extra running back, 1 less wide receiver, and tight ends are the same. All right, you're +1.
So then you look at O-line. I think you keep 9. Does that get you back to even, or
that gets you to even?
Okay, so you're even.
Now you're 25 guys
going into the defense. Looking at linebacker, I think you keep 5. That's really light, though. That's really light. Yeah, that's really light. I don't know.
Special teams, man.
I know.
That's that 6th guy is your special teams guy, hopefully.
And this is where maybe you use the practice squad and those vested veteran spots to try to elevate a guy. I don't know, but still.
You get 4 elevations.
That's why I'm
glad
I don't have this job.
Sometimes we burned up 4 elevations by Columbus
Week
Day.
4?
Yeah.
I think you keep probably 10 defensive backs like we have in the past. Only 9 last year, but 10 the 3 years prior.
6 corners, 4 safeties,
I think I went 5 safeties, 5 corners, but it's tricky because there's some players that are safeties, but basically slot corners here. So
blurry line.
Yeah. And then 9 defensive linemen, 3 specialists. So if you do all of that, that leaves you 1 spot left in the 53, and you can put it wherever you want. But the point is, it shows how difficult these decisions are. Like, I wish I could keep 4 or 5 more of these players, but you can't. So to go back to your original point, make it impossible to cut you. Play so well that they cannot cut you. They can't risk putting you on waivers. They have to have you part of this system. And who is that player going to be? And it's always kind of fun to see who that is, because in the past, like Chris Roland Wallace comes to mind. I remember, I might have mentioned this in the pod before or just privately to you. I was doing a sideline interview with Drew Tranquil during the final preseason game. And the Chiefs had done a great job of kind of hiding Chris Roland Wallace. There had been no real discussion about him. And I'm interviewing Drew on the sideline, just asking about the defense in general. And I'm like, who are some of the guys that have really impressed you and stood out to be leaders on this defense? Leaders, right? And he's like, oh, man, like, you're out here with guys like Nick Bolton, Chris Jones, Chris Roland Wallace. And I remember thinking to myself, what? Like, why did he mention Chris Roland Wallace in that context? Well, what do you know? A few days later, CRW makes this team. And now he's been here for a couple of years, and now I think he's going to be our starting slot corner this season. So it goes to show, make it impossible to cut you, and you're going to end up having a role on this team maybe for years to come. And he's a great example, and I think we'll have another example of that here in just a few days.
Yep, and you see any of his breakthrough plays. The interception against San Francisco, I believe, is a breakthrough play. And so you saw CRW continue to climb as a guy who had kind of pushed his way up the roster. You think of an Xavier Wampa maybe on this 2026 version that kind of fills that role, Khalil Benson on the other side. But now I'm going to flip this. And I'm going to use the same phrase, just different inflection, but just follow me through this. You're a graduate of the University of Missouri Columbia School of Journalism. You're a wordsmith. Make it tough for me to cut you. Now, let me give you a double meaning.
Okay.
Make it tough for me to cut you, meaning you've been a veteran. You've been around for a while. You've been in this building 2-3 years. But you've got to continue to progress. You've got to continue to move forward. You have to show improvement. This isn't earning points to get a merit badge in the NFL. So when I say make it tough to cut you, meaning maybe you're a draft pick, maybe you're a free agent that we've invested a lot of time and effort into, but it'll be tough to cut you. But you're still going to be cut.
Yeah.
So this is where it gets to be, I think, really tricky, especially with, like, I see 9 rookies come firing through here, the 7 draftees and 2 undrafted free agents that could be on the 53-man roster. And when that happens, who's people that have been here for a while get pushed away. You got to continue to improve in this league. Even though you're around for a while does not mean or guarantee anything. And there'll be, I think, some folks that might be surprised. Just a thought. But make it tough to cut you also means this is going to be tough, but I got to cut you. And it's not because you're rising. It's because you've stayed the same or slipped.
I think the last time we were confronted with this kind of decision-making process is probably going into the 2022 season. Because the 2021 season, even though it ended up in the conference title game, still fell short of expectations. Yep. And a lot of changes were made after that season. And a lot of players that were here previously, many of which that had a lot of success, we had to say goodbye to. And there was a total youth movement, and we really fully committed to it. Well, what was the result of that? Well, we went to 3 Super Bowls in a row. But we had to commit to that youth movement. And I think we're kind of seeing that right now, where a lot of young players are going to have an opportunity to go and play and not just be starters, but also be depth guys. And the other side of that is it means that you're saying goodbye to players that have been around here a while. So we'll see who those guys are, but I'm with you on that.
So do you think Mansour Delane makes the team? Peter Woods, Armason Thomas? Let's go right down the line.
I think Mansour makes the team.
Yeah. Feels like it. Cyrus Allen, maybe. We talked about Jaden Kennedy. We talked about Nussmeier. You're going to keep 3 quarterbacks. That's the 7th-round pick quarterback. Who's the 3rd quarterback on this roster? And who I'm leaving out? I always leave somebody out here. That's 7 draftees.
Well, how about Emmett Johnson?
Don't want to leave Emmett out because here comes all my Lincoln text. And folks on social media. I've featured all week long.
Yeah.
I mean, for months here I've featured Emmett Johnson ever since we've drafted him. But, yeah, throw him in there. It's right down the line. Very similar when we were in 22, going right down the line going, ooh, these guys could all make the team.
And here's the thing. 22, immediately those rookies stood out to us. Like right away, they had like a certain presence about them where they didn't feel like rookies. They felt like players that were brought in here to help us win. And I think Emmett's a great example of that because there's so many stories with him. He's impressed me so much. But if you look at his preseason performance, I know the preseason is what it is, but it is an opportunity good to go out there and show what you can do. And Emmett, as of this recording, leads all running backs with 10 forced missed tackles during the preseason. Think about that, 10 forced missed tackles. He's taking every carry and running as hard as he possibly can because he knows this is my opportunity to show what I can do. Mm-hmm. So here's the fun thing. He had 7 of those in the first preseason game, and we, of course, went back to camp after that. He's walking down the hill, and I'm like, hey, Emmett, a heck of a game on Saturday. He just kind of shakes his head and says, I have to be so much better. And he was serious. He wasn't just, joking about it. He was serious. So it says everything about his attitude, and let's see what he can do in this game. But he has a great shot to help us win this year.
And let me add something here, because you've seen this as the weeks have gone on with Emmett. Stuff keeps getting added to his plate.
Yeah.
Kick return? What? That's like Amir Abdullah. That's like his mentor. Oh, kind of snuck in there, maybe past the naked eye. Personal protector on punt.
Uh-huh.
Not that he'll do it. That's Jaden Hicks' job right now. But if Jaden Hicks goes down, he'd be right there. They just keep putting more on Emmett's plate. And I love to see it because that tells me what they think he can be. And Emmett so far has shown he can be a pro.
For sure. And, forced missed tackles to me are a fun stat in the preseason because a lot of it is want to. It's how badly do you want to be on this team? How badly do you want to show what you can do in a preseason setting? Because think about a forced missed tackle. It means that you're having to put your body on the line. There's no business decisions being made when you do that. And in the preseason, that takes a certain kind of guy. And Emmett clearly is that guy. I have a note.
And Ken Walker, by the way, says hold my beer on that stat. So.
Yeah, Ken Walker, I'm looking forward to seeing his missed forced tackle stats once the season gets going. But you were talking about like second and third year guys that need to elevate because the pressure is on. Well, in the same context of missed forced tackles, you know who leads all pass catchers in that category in the preseason right now in forced missed tackles with 5?
Jalen
Royals.
Yeah, and we've seen every target be caught by him in 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
So there's an example of the second phrase, hey, make it hard for me to cut you. You've been around, but we'll cut you. But he now has been the antithesis of that, especially, and he's been better almost in the games than he has been in practice.
Definitely, yeah.
And that's a good sign, actually. But this is what we thought we were going to get a year ago.
This is what it was at Utah State. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's cool to see that actually translate to games, and it's clear that Jalen is trying to make it clear, like, I can be not only on this team, but a contributor on this team. So we'll see what he can do in this last game, but that stands out to me as well. And then Brashard Smith actually ranks second in that category among all pass catchers, not running backs, but pass catchers with 4 forced missed tackles. Same thing with Brashard. I mean, we've been talking about Brashard really since camp began because he looks far more comfortable at running back now. But anyway, it's all to illustrate that I'm excited about not only our rookies, but also some of our younger guys that have been here for a minute, that they're taking this preseason seriously. And it really starts from the ground up of saying last season was not acceptable, and we're going to make sure we turn things around this year. And for players like Emmett that weren't even here last season to have that mindset is pretty cool.
I think, to me, Brashard Smith, every time I see him in practice or a game, I think of DeMarco Murray. I think DeMarco Murray has really, our running backs coach, former Cowboy star, OU star, has really helped Brashard Smith. And some of it is Brashard Smith, he didn't have enough reps of time at running back. But DeMarco, I think, has kind of taken him under his wing. It's been awesome to see that. But special teams comes into play here so much. I know I keep harping on it. But honestly, and to be emphatic here, we got to be better in special teams. In the preseason so far, Coach just talked about it. I asked him about it, and we were chatting about it. But we saw a 40-yard punt return against the Rams against us that flipped the game. That was right after Brownlee drops what would have been a 94-yard touchdown pass to go up 10 points. Instead, the punt return flips the game. We lose. And Matt Araiza, love him, but a 36-yard punt. All of a sudden, a short field for Jalen Daniels, but it's a 49-yard drive. Those are automatic points in the NFL. So covering them, don't have penalties, get a return. It's all of those categories that can flip a season so quickly and take the Chiefs from 6-11 to a 12-5.
It's the margins. We've talked about this at length, that the Chiefs didn't get blown out in a bunch of games last year when Patrick was healthy. We lost those games in the margins. It was in the final 2 minutes. It was penalties. It was a special teams mistake here or there. It was missing a field goal here or there, missing a block here or there. It was the margins, and we have to clean up the margins. And I think really after week 1 of the preseason, where we had 12 penalties, that's kind of been the mandate. Like, we have to play cleaner football. Like, we have to play disciplined football. And that whole idea gets back to special teams as well. So hopefully we see an improvement in that area on Friday to make us feel better about kicking things off against the Broncos.
And as soon as the game ends Friday, you and I are just going to keep everything peeled to what's going to happen, because I think it's going to go throughout the weekend.
Yeah.
Announcing a 53, but that 53 could change really quickly.
It sure can. And it's exciting. We've been waiting months and months to get through this process. I feel for the guys that aren't going to be here anymore, and we appreciate them. And I think that's important to emphasize, like, everything they've given this team, if they've been here for years or if they've been here for a couple of months, like, we appreciate it. But it's also an exciting time, because I am just so tired about hearing about the demise of the Chiefs, and I'm ready to go out there and show the world the Chiefs are still here.
Well, if the Chiefs are still here, and you and I believe that they are, it's going to be having the right guys on the field. And over the next several days, it's going to be interesting. So for 96 hours, make it tough to cut you.